Across the globe, heat waves are becoming increasingly common. Canada is no exception to the trend, and as a result of climate change, the frequency and intensity of heat waves are on the rise. Heat waves are usually defined as periods of exceptionally hot weather lasting 2 or more consecutive days. Temperatures are deemed exceptionally hot when daily maximum and minimums exceed historical averages. In Canada, the criteria used to determine when to issue a heat warning vary from province to province and territory to territory. The term urban heat island is used to describe urban areas in which temperatures are higher than those in neighboring rural areas and natural spaces. The difference in temperature is typically of only a few degrees, but can reach up to 12 degrees Celsius in certain parts of the city, such as paved parking areas. Conversely, for parks and green spaces, the difference tends to be lower. The phenomenon of urban heat islands is concerning, especially when we consider that in 2021, almost 3/4 of Canadians were living in one of the country's urban centers. City growth leads to the loss of forest coverage and natural spaces in favor of impervious surfaces like houses and roads. These new, darker surfaces, such as tar and asphalt, absorb large quantities of heat and increase surface temperatures. Lowered rates of water evaporation, which helps keep the air cool, also contribute to the urban heat island phenomenon. By inhibiting evaporation, impermeable surfaces cause temperatures to rise. City size and morphology are also behind temperature increases in urban areas. Air circulation is poorer in neighborhoods whose buildings are tall and close to one another. Human activities, including industrial production, car use, and air conditioning, have exacerbated the problem of urban heat. Extreme heat is associated with excess mortality and can lead to several adverse health effects such as dehydration, cramping, loss of consciousness, exhaustion, heat stroke, the worsening of other health conditions, and even death. In Canada, heat is responsible for more deaths than any other weather events. In the summer of 2021, there were no fewer than 619 heat-related deaths in British Columbia, 93% of which occurred during the week of June 25th to July 1st, when temperatures as high as 49.6 degrees Celsius were recorded in the village of Lytton. Heat waves affect everyone, including healthy people. However, population groups that are already vulnerable and less able to protect themselves are at greater risk. These groups include people most exposed to extreme heat, such as those who work or engage in physical activity outdoors, people most susceptible to heat-related ailments, such as the elderly, young children, people who are pregnant, and people with chronic or mental illnesses, and people who do not have the means of adapting to extreme heat, such as low-income earners. Heat-related deaths are largely preventable. There are several actions that can be taken to help mitigate risks and maintain thermal comfort, such as staying hydrated, taking a shower or a bath, swimming, and cutting down on physical activity. Strategies to keep indoor temperatures from climbing too high include using fans and air conditioners, closing the curtains during the day, and opening the windows during the night. Several citywide adaptation measures can also be implemented. Take, for example, initiatives to increase plant cover such as creating parks, planting trees and greenery along streets and parking lots, and installing green roofs. We should also be rethinking the morphology of our cities, facilitating access to cooler areas, improving air circulation between buildings, and making use of highly reflective building materials are some of the measures we can adopt to make our cities more resilient to heat. Moreover, we should be looking to minimize the amount of heat produced by human activity. This could be achieved by reducing car traffic and adopting strategies to cool buildings passively, for instance. Our climate models predict that in the coming years, temperatures will rise and that heat waves will become more frequent, more intense, and will last longer. By 2050, the number of days with temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius will have doubled in certain parts of the country. Between 2051 and 2080, certain areas will experience more than 50 days where temperatures exceed 30 degrees Celsius every year. A As temperatures rise, so does the frequency of other alarming weather events like droughts and forest fires. As the population grows older, urbanization accelerates and the frequency and intensity of heat waves increases. It is now more important than ever that we come to grips with these problems that affect Canada too.